Hey fam. Y'all, I'm sitting up here just thinking, reminiscing about the 80s and the 90s. Um, I'm sitting up here thinking, I'm like, looks can be very deceiving. It could be very deceiving. And I think people are out here today to deceive more than having you to actually to believe the truth. Okay. And this goes for not just men, but women too. Men and women, or people who's trying to be deceitful to fool the eye. Okay. Story time. Back in the day, I want to say the 80s and the 90s, I was a big church goer. I was a big person back in the day. I don't know, back in Atlanta, New Birth Missionary Baptist Church was my home. And let me tell you something. You talking about a church that was raising the roof, baby, New Birth. New Birth was the place to be in the 80s and the 90s, and I was there for all of it. Let me tell you something. You talking about one person that was proud to be a member of New Birth? They used to call us New Birthians. I was so happy to be a part of that organization, that church organization. That was my first time encountering such a big church. You know, we started off on 2778 Snapfinger Road off of Wesley Chapel. Oh, that was the best time to be at church. Walking down that hill, going to the church because I couldn't get in the car parking lot because everybody and its mama was there. You know, everybody wanted a good seat. And at the time, the church was growing. We went from basically 3,000 to 5,000 to 10,000 members. Baby, let me tell you something. Nobody could have never told me nothing about New Birth. What church you go to? New Birth? Oh, you go to New Birth? Yeah. I was going to New Birth on a Sunday. I was going to New Birth on a Wednesday. I was going to the singles ministry. I was a part of the tape ministry. I was just there. You know what? My mama got sick of me talking about New Birth. But you know what? The person that you couldn't tell me nothing about was my pastor, Bishop Eddie Lee Long. I love myself some Eddie Long. I had everybody that I knew turning on the TV. We on the TV. Y'all on the TV? Yeah, we on the TV. That's my pastor right there. My mama was sick of me talking about Bishop Long. Baby, you couldn't tell me nothing about my pastor. You could never tell me about him. First of all, you couldn't tell me about him because when I was going to Georgia State at the time, he was paying my college tuition. I remember that. I still got the receipt today of when he paid my college tuition. And then I was there in it all when in church he used to do for the single women. I don't know if any of you guys remember that, how he was giving single mothers cars, paying off their cars. He was helping people paying their rent for a whole year. I mean, the 90s was the bomb. I was there with Byron Cage. I was there with Donald Lawrence. We was there with Dottie Peoples. We was there with Fred Hammond. I was there with Kirk Franklin. I was there with Kurt Carr. We had the best of people and speakers coming to the church. Man, let me tell you something. I wasn't thinking about no man. I wasn't thinking about no child. I just had New Birth. That was my family. Never bored. But let me tell you something. Nobody could never tell me nothing about my Bishop Eddie L. Long. Mm-mm. My mama came to visit me one time and I took her to church. She used to say, "That's your pastor." You know, because Bishop was like a thug with a robe on. You know, he was kind of street, but he was dap and swag, very eloquent. And that was the big attraction because, you know what, Bishop always had himself, you know, in them tees, and, you know, he was all muscled, and he carried himself well, and he had the first family, and he loved his wife, Miss Vanessa. He loved his kids, and the congregation loved him. Not saying that we worshiped him, but my thing is, he couldn't do no wrong in nobody's eyesight. Looks can be very deceitful. Let me tell you something. When them allegations hit, when them sexual allegations hit, like P. Diddy got going on right now, straight man being straight, but then doing gay activities. You talking about the eyeballs of the people of the cartoons that just woo, baby. Let me tell you something. That shook the whole congregation. It shook the congregation. Do you hear me? You had 5 boys going to court, and you settled out of court with $25 million. Baby, we were some hurt people. It was embarrassing. Let me tell you something. A couple of times, I thought I was going to stand up to a few people because I was about ready to fight. Oh, well, Tina, don't you go to that church? You ain't sensed nothing about y'all old bishop. You ain't sensed nothing about him. Y'all ain't see it coming. Nobody couldn't see nothing coming because he loved his wife. He held her hand. He gave her gifts. He kissed her. He loved his kids. And he was straight. He was standing up here like, a man's man. He was handling business. You understand me? Now, yeah, he did look like he was a little womanizer. I didn't put that past him, though. My mama would always say, she would say something like, well, he looked like he was a little HOE. He looked like he'd step out on his wife. Well, you know what? I couldn't disagree because he was looking just that good with them jeans on and them tight sweaters to embrace them muscles and stuff like that. He did look that tight. But you could have never told me that he was dealing with the man on the side. And that's what I want to say tonight. You can never be too sure. This is the problem with today, because you got people being very deceitful, and they being straight. And they got wives and they got children and they got and it's made like, it's just so easy, and too many people are doing it. And I'm just not talking about the men. I'm also talking about the transgender too, because I just got through taking care of one that I thought was a female. Looked like a female, but they taking hormone shots. And you know what? He got messed up. Somebody beat him up because he passed himself off as a female to a male. And he had all the features of a female. And he wound up in the hospital because that guy that he didn't tell that he was really a male, he almost took him out of here. That's why I say you got to be careful, because people is making people believe what they're actually seeing. And they're, like I say, they got other people. They have hidden agendas. We have more hidden agendas today. As long as you can believe what I want you to see, and I handle my business in the back door. We got too many men like P. Diddy. Like I said, P. Diddy is just peeled back layers. He just peeled back the layers of what's really going on. You got straight dudes. You got people making you believe one thing, but they're actually doing something else. You would have never told me that my bishop had sex allegations of dealing with men and boys from the age of 15. And then you got a wife that everybody see on your arm, and you kissing, you hugging, and you preaching about the gay community and the lesbian community, but then you're actually engaging in it yourself. That's why I say looks can be deceitful, ladies. Like I say, make sure you dealing with the right thing, because like I say, men and women is misleading people at an alarming rate. And like I say, sometimes people are putting people in place just to put them in place, but they have other agendas. They have other lifestyles. They have other things that they do in their private time, but they just want you to see what they want to show you. All right? So be careful out there. The summertime coming. Everybody ain't who they say they is. Everybody ain't standing up straight while you being 100 at the table. Everybody ain't being 100. They just want you there because they got other things to do in their private time, like Bishop did. But I love him. God rest his soul. And I still think about him today. God bless y'all.